there's some moments in my life I just thought of another one. And I need to tell the people this because you've suffered through all the other cobwebs that I've had. And I'll go back to your questions in a minute, but there's something a little bit. I had a complete metamorphosis at the low point of my life. Vince McMahon had already given me his notice, but I was wrestling out my final 10 days. I found myself in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I was very soul sick and depressed. And I thought, why hast thou forsaken me? Why am I sitting here in the same town that I was married in with my marriage falling apart? And why, in this business I love, am I being asked to leave? And why, if all this is happening, why do I have to? I mean, I've been wrestling since I was 18, right out of high school. I didn't know I could do as well as I have. I didn't know God would open bigger doors for me. I didn't know that I was actually blessed. I thought it was the end of the road, but it's actually the bend in the road. So I'm sitting there feeling sorry for myself, having my pity party. And I was saying, woe is me. And then my life changed. 2 young men from high school, not punks, you could tell right away. They said, Mr. Poffo? And I looked up and I said, well, Lanny, but yes. He says, we're high school students in Moncton, and Moncton is where I spent the summer of 1978 and 1983, and I was top babyface there. I was the biggest fish in the smallest pond they've ever had. You know, I'm not saying I was a big deal, but I wasn't surprised when he says, you're my favorite wrestler, and we have a friend on the hockey team that skated headlong into the rink and broke C4, cervical vertebrae number 4, which is not as bad as what happened to Christopher Reeve, which is C1, which should have killed him. But he's about to leave for Toronto because Canada has socialized medicine. He's about to leave for Toronto, where they have the finest rehabilitation program in the world, in Canada anyway. It's a matter of opinion what the world has to offer, but at least it's free, and it's a place he can go to find out what he's going to be able to use and what not. So he said, you're his favorite wrestler. Would you come with us? Because we're having a party for him because he's leaving soon for Toronto and he's going to stay there for quite a while. And I said, yes, let me make one phone call. And I called the person that I was going to ride with to the arena. And I said, I only have one condition. It's a 7:30 show. I have to be there by 6:30. Otherwise, I'm fined. Can you make sure that I took my wrestling gear? Can you make sure you get me? Because, you know, they will find you. Right. And I'm not into that. I think it's okay that they fine you but I'm saying let's avoid it at all costs.
Right.
So I go into the hospital, and in this room, it's as big as this room, but it's full of must have been 20 people, boys and girls. His girlfriend was there. He was wearing a halo. Do you know what a halo is?
Yes.
Okay. For those of you that don't know what a halo is, it looks like a halo, and what it does, it immobilizes your neck. The kid broke his neck playing hockey. And here I was feeling sorry for myself because I'm having a divorce and I lost my job. Or I'm about to lose my job. I have to fulfill the bookings. So I go into the room, and the love and the energy level that was in that room, and said, Lanny, you came, and the parents came up to me and said, oh, he loves you. There he is and everything. And we talked, and then I played a little game of I said, give me a topic, I'll give you a poem. So I'm very good at this. You tell me any topic, I'll give you a poem about that subject. Boom, boom, boom. I did 15 in a row and never failed. And we were laughing, we were having fun. I was having a rush of endorphins and serotonin. I was feeling happy because of the love I was sharing and bringing to this young man that had nothing. That had everything, his whole future was ruined and destroyed. And then, oh man, we were on a roll. It was a happy place. You wouldn't believe that a hospital could be happy like that. And then he says, Lanny, can you sign the front of my book? So they got the big book where everybody had signed it, and on the front was his picture and a lot of white space, and nobody had signed the front of his book yet, and he thought enough of me to sign the front of my book. He said, and would you write a poem for me? So everybody's looking at me, and I can't write anything to this boy, because if I were in his shoes, I would beg you to kill me. I couldn't have the guts to face life like that, and be an invalid and be crippled like that, and have to fight to and never have bathroom privileges, or never, the things that we take for granted because we have 2 loaves of bread under each arm and we're not appreciative of every moment that we're alive and have good health. Moments ago, I was in the lobby thinking I was the unhappiest man in the world, thinking that God didn't love me anymore, thinking that I was smited, or like Job or something. Anyway, so what happened was, everybody's looking at me and I can't write a word. And I said, hey, goldfish don't make love when you're watching. Everybody speak amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
So I made my prayer and I said, God, I apologize for not being grateful that my daughter's normal, that she's not got any handicaps, and that I've been blessed with great abundance. Instead, I've been worried about all these little things like divorce and losing my job, when I know that I've got everything it takes for the journey ahead. If I can let go of the past and concentrate with your help. And I said, please, I wouldn't have the guts to face what this boy's going to face. I said, so I have no idea what kind of a poem I can write for him that's going to help him. Please give me the words that's going to help him, because of and by myself, I can't even draw a deep breath. And as soon as I asked for help, God gave the poem to me, and I was only his vessel. Moncton is a Catholic town. I looked on that guardrail and I saw a big crucifix, about that big, with Jesus on the cross. Instantly, the cross is on your right-hand rail. His love will see you through. But even if you lose your faith, he still believes in you. And you could have cut it with a knife. The love that was in that room, that was what I call, whatever you want to call it, the joy of the Holy Spirit is what I choose to call it. But what I learned was, I could be the happiest man in the world if I could just be an instrument of the peace of God. In other words, I've been gifted with God's love through me, that I can forgive anybody, my ex-wife, Ole Anderson, all of these people that tried to hold me down. They couldn't, because I'm a sponge. I always rose to the top. And with God's love, through him, I can forgive anybody. And that's the secret of the fact that why I don't look my age. Because I've been living on serotonin and endorphins, and those make it impossible for you to get sick, that make it impossible for you to prematurely age. It's more important than your diet. If you're miserable, you get ugly. If you're happy and healthy, you become thankful and you walk in blessedness. I don't want to turn this into a big thing. I do follow Deepak Chopra. And as a matter of fact, in 3 weeks, I'm taking my daughter and her boyfriend to see Rhonda LaRue, who drinks from the same well as Dr. Richard Moss. And please, if you're listening, go on the internet and look at these people. You've got nothing to lose. They're talking about love, not hate. Anyway, sorry to get off the subject. Okay. Ask me a question. I'm a little...
I was going to ask you if you have any regrets, and if there's anything you want to say to your fans that you never had a chance to say before.
Well, thank you for all the fans that have taken the time to introduce themselves to me. Thank you for must have been hundreds of thousands of Frisbees that were bought, I always wanted to prove the reason. What I used to do is win, lose, or draw, even when I lost to George Scoland. You know, I always went to the venues, and if they bought Frisbees or didn't buy Frisbees, I said, "What's your name? I'll sign your autograph." Even if they didn't want to see me particularly, is that everybody else? No, I'm sorry, I'm it. Okay, well, you'll have to do then. You know, even if they were not as happy to see me as I was to see them. Hundreds of thousands of Frisbees at $3 a piece were bought by the fans. Thank you for each person that bought a Frisbee and kept one, because I meet people like that all the time wherever I go. And I'm sorry I was never given a doll. My daughter would have loved to play with a figure of mine. But why would I want to look at that? I'm just mentioning these are some of the albatross that I've had to deal with. What I'm into now, and what I wish the fans would understand, is when I go to schools and I try to influence them, it's because 100% of my progeny is non-smoking and is positively achieving. I only have one daughter, and she's chosen to live the clean life. And may she always be smoke-free for life. Now I'm talking about your sons and daughters. I'm going to help. That's why I'm writing my book. It's not an expose. It's not who's having sex with whom. It's not, notice the proper grammar? Okay, anyway, this is my book, and it's called Limericks from the Heart and Lungs. And it's available Amazon.com, and you can type in my name, Lanny Poffo, or Limericks from the Heart and Lungs. Or you can, if you don't have an internet, like I think maybe 3 people don't. It's, let me see if I can remember the phone number, 1-800-382-7922. Now, I'm not going to repeat it. Rewind the tape or whatever you got, DVD, whatever it is. Now, in the book are 2 poems that are not limericks. One of them is very important, and it's what I use in positive action assemblies. Always strive to be your best in everything you do. Don't worry if there's someone else who's luckier than you. You don't have to finish first. Just finish fair and square. With a little perseverance, the tortoise beats the hare. Your only competition is laziness and fear. Trade them for a double dose of courage, strength, and cheer. And don't you ever feel ashamed if someone laughs at you. You're in some fancy company. They laughed at Lincoln, too. No smoking, drugs, or alcohol. You're worth too much for that. You're a decent human being, not some laboratory rat. My thanks to all the boys and girls for making me your guest. I'm not a real genius, but I strive to be my best. And then, and also in the book is one I wrote for Special Olympics. And I also felt this was a God poem, because I thought to myself, let me do something for these children. Let me do something for the parents. Because my daughter is normal, that's why. Because I'm thankful that my daughter is normal. So let me be an instrument of healing and love to help these children and help these parents, because theirs is a heavier load than mine. So out of thankfulness and gladness, I write this. It's called the Special Olympics. And there's something about that name. It's taking people off the bench and putting them back in the game. No one should ever be denied the chance to grab the center stage or share an honest, open smile with other boys and girls their age for personal satisfaction or just having a little fun. The spirit of competition is the birthright of everyone. It's a very special moment when they pass that torch and run. In the words of Charles Dickens, God bless us, everyone. So, limericks from the heart and lungs. A limerick there once was a man from Nantucket.
Right.
But mine aren't dirty because I'm trying to get this into the school system, right? Mine are nice. I write nice limericks. Nothing sexually overt. No gratuitous violence.
Right.
Okay? The only thing is, like Frankenstein would say, smoking, bad. Okay? That's my relentless message in 335 limericks and many beautiful illustrations, may I add. Okay. 3 smokers with nothing to do were spending some time at the zoo. As they lit up to smoke, I heard one monkey joke, "Hey look, human see, human do." If smoking is cool as they claim, then why is it always the same? The first time you try, you wish you could die, the last time achieving your aim. I always refuse to comply with smokers who want me to try. My first cigarette, which I haven't had yet, I just tell them, no thank you, goodbye. Let's see. A smoker from Lima, Peru fell in love with a lady named Sue. But when he got close, she thought it was gross. He smelled just like Pepe Le Pew. Let's see. At the beginning of the book, it's for can't read kids.
Right.
And read to me kids. And then it grows and then up to college level and finally adulthood. And in the back is a glossary of 200 words so you can build your vocabulary as your reading levels improved. But another one for the children. Absorbent and yellow is he in his pineapple under the sea. The ocean's too wet for a lit cigarette. That's why SpongeBob is happy, smoke-free. I like SpongeBob. It said, oh, why was the dolphin so sad? His life had no purpose. That's bad. But my corniest pun is still kind of fun. I'm Lanny, the non-smoking dad. Thank you. I'm not going to read the whole thing. However, what I'm trying to pull here is, I said before, a life is not judged by duration. In other words, I can live 100 years or 200 years. It's judged by donation. It's what did I give? Because eventually, I'm going to leave this horn of plenty for the horn of Gabriel, and I'm going to have to take a tone for myself. And I believe that what you have done for the least of my brethren, you have done for me. So what have I done for the least of my brethren? Well, I'm going to take the number one cause of preventable death, and I am going to try to do for the children what I've done for my own daughter. I'm going to try to set an example and to apply peer pressure to help the children choose a smoke-free, drug-free life. And it's a statistical fact that non-smokers don't do drugs, that only smokers do drugs. Now, you can't judge the universal by the particular, but that's the way to bet. Okay, now there are exceptions. I'm not here to talk about the exceptions. I'm here to talk about the rule. I can't solve the world with one book. But if I can solve your world with one book, if I can add 30 years to your life, which statistically, and save for secondhand smoke, or if at the very least, help you at least avoid a habit that's helping you spend $1,000 extra per year. And don't tell me about the economy improving, because that money that you're not spending on cigarettes is going to go towards other things that are going to improve the economy. I won't listen to that argument. It's like you're going to spend it somewhere, and you're helping the economy by spending it anywhere else. Anyway, I hate smoking. I don't hate smokers. Let's see, I do not hate smokers per se. I just try to keep them at bay. I can't remember it. I'm sorry. But something like that.
You want people to know you're not gay.
Oh, okay. I want people to know I'm not gay. See, I'll think of the rhymes, don't you?
Okay.
Okay.
Suppose I put you to a test and I say, come up with a rhyme for RF video and the shoot interview concept.
Okay, I'll have to mail that one to you. I was thinking about, I use selective deafness. If there's a room full of people, I hear what I want to hear.
I hear you.
I hear, poetic topics. Let's see if I can come up with something that might appease you since I've been put on the spot. Let me think. Well, in the concept of shoot interviews, I have a poem which I did not write, but it has to do with looking the whole world in the face, for you owe not any man. Okay, and before we were on the air, you were telling me about all the excellent interviews that had been done before me. And you were mentioning people like Jake the Snake Roberts. You were mentioning people like Raven. And what were some other?
The Road Warriors were.
The Road Warriors were excellent, and all these great people that have looked in and said what was, as George Costanza says in Seinfeld. Remember, it's not the truth. Remember, it's not a lie if you believe it. In other words, your truth and my truth may be two different truths. So it's still what you find in your heart, and it's like even Ole Anderson. He tells the truth, even when he lies, because he's it's like he's been in the water so long he doesn't even realize he's wet. You know, so it's to him that is the truth. So let me give you a poem about what it is to stand and be a man and tell the truth. And I didn't write this poem because I don't consider plagiarism a joke. As a matter of fact, I'd rather get caught shoplifting than signing my name to something that somebody else has done. Have you ever heard of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. He's a big deal.
Right.
Okay, in the world of poetry. And here's a poem that you should already know. And it's about a shoot interview. It's about saying what's in your heart without fear of contradiction, without fear of reproach. It's about standing and delivering. And I would say, if you're going to have a hero, why not have him? The Village Blacksmith by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands. And the muscles on his brawny arms are strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long. His face is like the tan. He works each day from morn till night. He earns whate'er he can. And he looks the whole world in the face, for he owes not any man. Week in, week out, from morn till night, you can hear his bellows blow. You can hear him swing his heavy sledge with measured beat and slow, like a sexton ringing the village bells when the evening sun is low. And children coming home from school look in at the open door. They love to see his flaming forge and hear his bellows roar and catch the burning sparks that fly like chaff from a threshing floor. On Sunday, he goes to the church and sits among his boys. He hears the parson pray and preach. He hears his daughter's voice. She's singing in the village choir, and it makes his heart rejoice. It sounds to him like her mother's voice, singing in paradise. His needs must think of her once more, as in her grave she lies, and with a large rough hand he wipes a teardrop from his eyes. Toiling, rejoicing, sorrowing, onward through life he goes. Each morning sees a task begin. Each evening sees its close. Something attempted, something done. He's earned his night's repose. Thanks. Thanks to thee, my worthy friend, for the lessons thou hast taught. For at the burning forge of life, our fortunes must be wrought, and with each sounding anvil shaped, each burning deed in thought.